Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into a topic that's, well, let's just say it's close to all of our hearts, right? Deal breakers, those non-negotiables in relationships. We've got this outline for a whole podcast series on it, and seriously, it is jam-packed. So today we're sifting through it all, getting you ready to rock those relationship conversations like a pro.
And it's funny, we usually think of deal breakers like, oh, gotta avoid those red flags, but this is bigger, right? It's about figuring out what really makes a relationship work right from the start. Not just avoiding disaster, but going for the gold.
Love that, building that dream relationship, brick by solid brick.
Exactly. And this outline, it even digs into how culture plays a role. Fascinating
Oh,
stuff.
for sure. Like, what's a deal breaker for one person might be a whatever for someone else. Culture is huge sheet. But okay, let's get real. This outline doesn't shy away from the big ones. Infidelity, communication breakdowns, values clashes. It's all there.
Yeah, it's like the stuff nobody wants to talk about, but everybody
Yeah.
thinks about.
Totally. Like, who hasn't had that awkward money conversation early on?
Right. But see, that's what I love about this outline. It's not just about the what, it's about the how. How do you actually talk about these things? And it stresses setting those boundaries early on.
Makes sense. It's like laying down the ground rules before things get messy.
Exactly. And a lot of it comes down to, those deep-seated values, what really matters to you.
Oh, for sure. And this outline is making me rethink some past. Let's call them learning experiences.
Uh-huh, we've all been there.
Seriously. But what's so interesting is how the outline weaves in this cultural piece, too. Like, what flies in one culture might be a total no-go in another.
Absolutely. What's normal in one place might be a huge red flag somewhere else. It's all relative.
Totally. This is making me rethink some past.
Uh,
Let's call them learning experiences.
we've all got those stories, right? But see, that's the beauty of this outline. It's about figuring out what matters to you in your own context. It's like, forget those dating app bios with the same 3 hobbies, right? This is about the real stuff.
Right. What makes you tick? What gets you going? What makes you say, nope, not for me in a heartbeat?
Exactly. Like, are you all about spontaneity or do you need things planned out? You want someone who challenges your ideas or someone who's totally on board with your cozy night and plans?
Okay, maybe not everyone's losing sleep over those questions, but
But they matter. And this outline, it gives you a way to actually think through it all. It even has prompts and stuff helping you figure out the values that maybe you didn't even realize were driving your relationships.
it's like having a relationship coach hidden in your back pocket.
Yeah.
And speaking of coaching, this outline, it doesn't just leave you with a bunch of big questions and no answers, right?
Yeah.
It actually helps you figure out how to talk about this stuff with a partner.
Right, because knowing yourself is one thing, but telling someone else, whole different story.
For sure. I think we've all messed that up a time or two or 10. So how does this outline say we should handle those conversations? Without it becoming a relationship autopsy, of course.
Well, timing is key, right? Like we said before, don't drop all your baggage on the first date. But as things get serious, that's when it matters. Address it head on.
So find that sweet spot between too soon and, oh no, it's too late now, resentment is brewing.
Exactly. And it gives real tips like using I statements so you're not blaming anyone, just saying how you feel, and really listening, even if you don't like what you're hearing.
So it's like compassionate communication 101, but for your love life.
Right. And it uses real examples, so it's not just some theory in a textbook.
It's like we're getting a sneak peek into everyone else's relationship drama, but without having to live through it ourselves. We get the lessons without the heartache.
I'm here for that. But we got to be real. Sometimes, even if you do everything right, it just doesn't work out.
Oof, yeah, that's
Yeah.
a tough one to swallow. What happens when you hit a deal breaker that feels impossible to get past?
That's where this outline gets even better. There's a whole section on ending things gracefully for both people.
Wow, this thing really does cover it all.
Right, and that's why it's so valuable. Relationships are messy, they have ups and downs, and this gives you the tools to handle it all with more awareness and hopefully more success, too.
Honestly, this outline is blowing my mind. I'm thinking we need a warning label. May cause extreme introspection, vulnerability, and a higher chance of actually finding true love. But seriously, this is amazing.
I know, right? And get this, it also says we should be getting different points of view in there, like expert interviews, listener call-ins, because we can learn so much from each other's experiences.
Oh my gosh, yes. Imagine a whole episode of people calling in with their craziest deal breaker stories, like a masterclass in what not to do.
Exactly. It's like, hey, we're all in this together. Makes you feel less alone, right?
Totally. Relationship struggles, they're universal. We all have them. But this outline, it encourages us to be curious about them, not ashamed.
Exactly. And beyond just the stories, imagine having a therapist on to talk about those tricky situations where it's not so black and white.
Oh, game changer. To have an expert decode those mixed signals, help us navigate those gray areas, like having a relationship therapist on speed dial.
Right. It adds so much weight to the conversation. People are getting real advice they can use, not just vague ideas.
Okay, so we've covered a ton today. Figuring out what you won't budge on, talking about it without causing World War III, navigating cultural differences, even ending things gracefully. This has been, wow.
It really has. So if someone's listening, what's the one thing we want them to remember?
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
But I think it's this. Relationships, they're a dance, not a fight, right? It's about being true to yourself while also being open to that messy, beautiful connection. Having those hard talks, respecting each other's limits, and never settling for anything less than a love that feels real?
So well said. And on that note, everyone, go out there and find your dance partner, but don't forget to pack your outline. It's been real, folks. Catch you on the flip side.